You literally started recording.
I did
as
literally
opened my
start
drink.
recording then.
I was like, I probably have time to open my drink.
No, you don't.
Nope. Nope.
I'm like confusing this camera way too much, I think, right now. But
Your camera's confusing you.
like, no, it's just the light murdering everyone's
confuses you.
eyeballs. That's all right. We don't need eyeballs.
Yeah, it's the ever since some silly person, millennia ago said, "Let there be light." Everything's been terrible.
Ugh, dreadful. Stupid emperor. Should we maybe move on from that real quick?
I mean, there's obvious there's obvious illusions between the Christianity creation stuff and the Emperor and the Primarchs. Like the Emperor was basically called a god.
Yeah, making
like supremely powerful.
Made Primarchs like in his in his vision and stuff. I feel like what I'm about to do is really stupid.
Okay.
I don't want to do it.
Had angel's wings. So Sanguinius had angel wings. He's one of the Primarchs.
Oh.
Yeah. And the Emperor's favorite son felt
Magnus.
chaos and wow. Well, technically,
Too soon?
Magnus did fall to chaos, to be fair, but that wasn't what I was thinking of in the moment. I was thinking of Horus, his favorite son, who fell to chaos and rebelled against him, much like Lucifer.
Yeah.
See, there's
What I'm just doing here is I'm holding a paintbrush in my mouth first of all. I'm adding a little bit of Black Templar contrast paint to this Khorne red because I'm worried that the Khorne red is going to be too light. Because I did 2 layers of Black Templar, which was probably not the best of ideas because it's really, really dark. But I've done it now, and we need to move on.
Like Bob Ross says, it's a happy little accident.
It's not happy, it's terrible, and everything's awful. Bob's wrong, everyone. Okay? Bob didn't everyone. Paint Warhammer figurines.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to My Life with Tash before we start recording.
Yeah, this is how I am with... Yeah, sorry.
This is a little sneak peek.
Yeah, it's not ideal, is it? I'm so annoying, honestly. Why does anyone be friends with me? I don't know. I hate it already. Sorry.
Okay.
It's all right.
Shall I talk about chaos, or would you like to shout
at
the camera?
This is pretty chaotic. So,
you mean your heavily organized notes on how to paint that you follow reasonably closely?
They're not heavily. They're not that extensive.
No. So chaos.
Tell me about our favorites.
We've kind of been and this is the thing that we talked about before is chaos is kind of a hard subject to broach, especially talking about the individual gods and everything, because essentially they don't do much, like their servants do a shit ton of stuff, and you can go into that, but when we're doing something along the lines of this, of like painting and everything, it's like, so yeah, the chaos are responsible for the Chaos Space Marines, and it's like, oh, what are the Chaos Space Marines? And it's like, okay, so the Chaos Space Marines are 9 of the founding chapters.
What are the founding chapters?
Yeah, and it's like, okay, so the founding chapters are the first 20 Space Marine legions, which were formed from the gene seed of the Primarchs.
Yeah.
What are the Primarchs? Okay, so basically,
that's Warhammer, though, isn't it?
Yes.
More than necessarily chaos, but chaos is just has so far-reaching, isn't it? Why have I got such an accent today?
I don't know.
Accent.
An accent.
Um, Soz.
So yeah, the thing is it's very prevalent with chaos. I mean, so much so that we decided to do an extra content for the patrons because you really wanted to know about Magnus and my Dusty Boys,
I did want to know about Magnus.
which led to me finding one of my most favorite memes of all time, which is
Yeah.
the fear of Hoovers.
Is that your favorite? I thought it was the jar guy. Magnus
the
on his
Java?
way through the thing, doing nothing wrong.
The Kool-Aid guy
That's the
bursting
one.
through. Yeah, Magnus doing nothing wrong. I do like that one, but it's just so funny because dogs being scared of vacuums is kind of hilarious.
My dogs are terrified of vacuums and also bin
Yeah,
bags.
yeah.
They're weird.
But it's like it's like yeah, when you think about your dog being scared of vacuums, and then you think about like an 8 or 9 foot tall, imposing, Viking space marine being scared of a vacuum, it's like I don't know, that kind of tickles me because I know the space wolves and also don't like the space
I was
wolves.
going to say, I know you don't like them.
Well, they were dicks.
You know what? Yeah, but
I'm sure we'll do the space. The space wolves are really interesting, and they are, to be fair, really cool.
and adorable.
Uh, you like their wolves.
I really like the wolves.
There's a difference between the wolves of the space wolves and the actual space wolf space marine chapter.
Yeah. Plus, I just like to aggravate you a little, and say that the wolves are so great.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fine.
That's fine,
So
he says as he sobs into his
that's fine.
bowl.
So, okay, so for instance, essentially, people who like worship chaos
Mm-hmm.
generally fall under a few different, like, not even factions, but just like categories.
Yeah.
You've got like regular people generally fall under like chaos cultists. So
Yeah.
they're
Alakites and like the wheat
yeah,
mother
yeah,
and
yeah. They generally tend to be like regular, just regular ordinary ass people who are farming on some world somewhere, and then someone drops a book that says like, "Hey, I'm Nurgle and I want to be your friend."
crashes a ship onto the planet. It's like, hey, what up? You want to get paid?
you don't need your work, chits. There are also significant Imperial Guardsmen like traitors.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, it's one of those things where like the Imperial Guardsmen, weirdly, in some ways, can be more devout to the Emperor than the Space Marines.
Right. So how do they
So,
then?
well, I mean, it's like they're still human. It's still possible to, and the
Yeah.
Space Marines aren't that devout a lot of the time.
They're just they were just made, right? So
They're super loyal to the Emperor.
that's different because it's the
Yes, because of
religious aspect of it, right?
the Imperial Creed. And
Right.
there's a difference between loyalty and faith.
Yeah.
So the faith can often protect an Imperial Guardsman because they believe that the Emperor is a god, compared to the Space Marines who tend to be like indoctrinated and loyalist and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Okay.
one of the Primarchs recently woke up. We'll talk about him at some point, but Reboot Guilliman.
Wait, I have his paint color. It's blue.
That's the Ultramarine Primarch.
Everything I know about them now is like, wait, I have the color.
Well,
You
you
should let
have
me
the.
You should let me start making guesses based on their color.
Oh, interesting. I'll do that. But yeah, he woke up recently and he saw what the Imperium had turned into in his like 10,000 years.
Nap.
Well, he was like almost dead, basically,
Oh.
and he did actually die when they tried to revive him, and then the Eldar. It's a whole long story. We'll get into it
The
at some
Eldar
point.
what now? They can't be
Uh,
messing with our space marines.
no, it's all right. The Eldar. It
Xenos.
was well, it
His
was your
girlfriend.
brain.
Oh.
Yeah,
Wait,
that's
is that
when
the
they.
right one?
Yeah, yeah.
That was fucking amazing.
No,
Sorry.
well, I mean, you said his girlfriend.
Yeah, his
Like,
girlfriend.
you fed into the meme, and you
It's not
didn't.
a meme. It's fact.
It's not.
It's fact, though.
They had a chat for like a minute, and
Yeah,
they
and
didn't
she
kill each
saved his
other.
life for their beautiful romance.
That's
Probably. I
not
don't know if
why.
that's true.
No, no.
No.
I mean, she did help, and I think she was responsible for like bringing him back, but it's not really.
Their beautiful
Um.
romance.
So
Why am I like
anyway,
this today? Sorry, Sheepy. This is what you have to deal with.
so anyway,
Please let me move
uh,
on, Natasha.
planetary militia, also imperial nobles, planetary governors,
Yeah, it
all
makes
that type
sense.
of corruptibles.
Oh, I mean,
Uh,
obviously, yeah, they're I imagine quite easy to corrupt.
and then, of course, the really cool ones, which are the Chaos Space Marines, the Traitor Titan Legions, which are Titans but just traitors,
Mm-hmm.
and which also, I guess, falls under the Dark Mechanicum.
So I know a little bit about the Mechanicus and the
Yes.
Mechanicus God, Machine God?
Yes.
Question mark. Um.
Mm.
What's the Dark Mechanicus when it's at home?
So the Dark Mechanicus is that, but chaos.
Okay, so I mean, but like even honestly, I don't know much about the Machine God. I know we're kind of wibbly wobbling here, but I would think that that would be frowned upon, somewhat.
The Omnissiah.
Uh, yeah.
So we'll get into it in much deeper detail when we talk about the Mechanicus.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's fine. But essentially, essentially, there was a point when the Imperium like fell apart because of all the warp storms.
Mm-hmm.
When I think it was before Slanesh came, but it may have been when Slanesh came. I can't remember. It is, yeah. We'll talk about it when it happens.
When it happens, in a few
years, yeah.
Yeah.
Where essentially the Terra Earth was cut off from everything, and everything was cut off from everything by warp storms.
Right.
So when the Emperor started his Great Crusade, one of his first ports of calls was the planet Mars.
Mars.
Which had gone from a kind of like factory, technological marvel to like the planet Mars had turned into religious zealots who worshipped machines and to play into the meme, they have sexual relations with toasters.
Right.
But they don't really. That's just part of the meme of
okay.
It's the joke of they love machines so much they have sex with them.
Okay.
Well, it's not actually true.
That you know of.
I don't like that you play into these memes. Mention them. So yeah, no, it's essentially as they were as the forces of the Imperium were just starting to move out, they were like, oh look, there's these wacky space cult dudes who worship machines and think that a spirit lives inside every machine, and they're all connected to the great Omnissiah, who's like the big,
No.
And they were like, oh,
Sorry, that's a different fact. Okay, we're not going to talk about them too much. Sorry. I always ask follow-up questions, and then
I
I'm like,
know.
but I want to know.
Well,
But
see,
I
the
know
thing
it's
is,
distracting.
it's not just distracting. I've been researching chaos.
Don't ask me about the Mechanicus.
I can talk. I have decent information, but I'm very aware that some of it is probably out of date. Some of it is
Mm,
probably wrong, and then some of it is just me guessing from random things I've kind of heard.
right. Okay. You know what? I'm not going to ask.
Well, that's just not true.
I want to ask,
No, but you will.
but I
Like,
want to.
so essentially,
They went to Mars. They
w-
were like, "What up? You have some toasters for us."
yeah, why are they all sticky? But
Oh no, that's not okay. Sheepy, you're a bad person.
you're the one who perpetuated the meme.
You told me the meme.
Yes, I didn't expect you to. Well, maybe I should have. But
Yeah, maybe you should have.
anyway, if I could get
Get
through
your
this
sentence out. Okay, go
sidebar,
on.
you forced me to take when I'm supposed to be talking about chaos, and now I'm talking about the origins of the Mechanicus. Um, it's essentially the setup was like the Imperium was like bow to us, and they're like fuck no, we like machines, and then they're like then we'll attack you, and they're like bitch, go ahead, we're like super stacked.
You can
It's like,
try.
so I'm ripped, bro, come at me. um so they had a shit ton of really nice technology and all that type of thing. And so the Imperium and the Emperor was like, yeah, sure, we could go in and we could maybe beat the shit out of them, but
But we didn't mean to start our crusade quite so soon, honestly.
and not, they don't want to really take all the losses they would take, like just, and they'd lose a whole load of technology because we'll get into it later in another thing, but
Things would
essentially,
happen. Basically,
well,
they didn't want to do it.
yeah. So later on, when the Emperor is taking a little nap, and the whole imperial cult thing is well, praise the Emperor, he's a god. The way they kind of got around it was that the Mechanicus were like, yeah, so we believe in the Omnissiah, who's like all-encompassing spirit that lives in all machines. And that's where the machine spirit kind of thing comes from. Again, this may not be 100% true. It's basically on track for truth.
Okay.
Is the best thing I can say here.
We'll have to do that soon because I feel like the Mechanicus is quite interesting.
Oh, they really are. But they were basically like, okay, would you worship the Emperor? Because he's clearly a god, right? And they're like, yeah, like he's probably part of he's probably like a part of the whole Omnissiah machine spirit stuff. Like he's like he's like the Jesus. Yeah, he's like the Jesus to the Omnissiah being God. So they worship the Emperor, but not really. And the Imperium is like grumble, but don't make any deal out of it.
Close enough for us.
Yeah, like when you're an unstoppable and clanky war machine, you don't piss off the people who make your guns.
Yeah.
Because not only would they stop making your guns, they'd also use those guns to fight back against you. So it's like, fuck it, yeah, like he's probably Robo Jesus or something. Sure.
Yeah, I see not wanting to fight them.
This
is looking a bit better already. Sorry. Yeah, good.
Looking a little bit lighter and a little bit. For some reason, it makes me think dinosaur.
I always do this though, where I like panic and think I've ruined it, and then I'll add some shading and highlights, and I'm like, oh, it's great, actually.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm there usually, and I'm the one saying like, yeah, I'm the one usually saying like, I'm sure it'll be fine, and you're like, no, Sheepy, it's terrible. Everything's on fire because I set it on fire.
Yeah, That does sound like things I would say.
They are things you say. Sometimes you're even meaner and I cry. So so yeah, the Dark Mechanicus is basically just the
So it is a bit
mechanical.
heresy, but it's not chaotic. Got it. Like heresy to the Imperium of Man, but they're like, it's fine because you're mean. But they're
It's
not like,
accepted and yeah.
Got it.
But that's the Mechanicus. So the Dark Mechanicus is actually heresy. They're people who they're Mechanicus-ites who wanted more knowledge and more power, and they felt chaos, and they served the dark gods and all that.
Good for them.
But we're like the Dark Mechanicum are really cool, but they're not really much of a big thing at the moment in 40k. I'm hoping that they'll get their own book, or they'll get like a big chunk of lore and stuff. So
well, they just did the Orcus stuff, didn't they? So
yeah,
I was hoping.
Here's hoping. So, just as a sidebar, I hope you're not like this during the Dark Eldar, because I don't know how that's going to run if it is.
You don't know if I'm whating?
I hope you're not like this during the Dark Eldar.
Oh, I feel like it won't be a heat wave then, and I won't be as loopy.
Yeah,
because it'll be October then.
Sure, yeah.
One can hope, you know.
I'm pretty sure we're both hoping.
I'll do my best. That's all I can offer.
The way I decided to kind of approach this is basically the Chaos Gods, and I think we talked about this a little bit in the Zinch kind of chat, but the Chaos Gods basically came into existence around about the time the Rise of Man.
Because of all these nice corruptible humans.
Yeah, but they were already forming. To be fair,
yeah, because there was still other species, I suppose.
Yeah. I think the thing is like humanity kind of encompasses all of the corruption and chaos and good or bad things.
And there's so many of them.
Yeah, like the Elder are pretty specific in terms of like sin, I guess, where they just went excessive and then birthed a new Chaos God because Eldar.
Oopsie daisy.
Like you could maybe put some of the fault for Khorne on the Orcs. Maybe that's why Khorne was the first Chaos God, because the Orcs were
with all their
running around fighting. But they have a weird connection to the warp anyway. So
I mean, Orcs are one of the options for October. So I think the Orcs will be a lot of fun when we get to those.
I think I'm going to have to end up talking about the Tau. I just have a feeling.
That's the one of the other options. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to do my best not to meme too much.
If I have to do Chaos and then the Dark Eldar and then the Tau, I like just
give the man a break. Because
Chaos has Slanesh in it. The Dark Eldar are just the Dark Eldar. Like, it's literally BDSM's space elves.
Well, you've said it now.
BDSM space elf perverts.
Right.
And then the Tau are the ones who get like all of the porn made about them, which is, I don't know why that is, but it just is. I
kind of want to be like, if anyone knows, don't tell us.
I think I know why. It's just because they're anime as fuck.
Okay.
And I have a feeling. Well, they have all the big mechs and everything when they're running around like junka. I think it's just like maybe that attracted all the weebs, and so all the weebs like barreled in and they're like, blue boober ladies, yes, let's make art of that. It's like that's not really, but okay.
Hey, I mean, it happens with Mass Effect too, so.
I mean, you saw what the internet did when they had a slightly large lady with slightly more larger boobs, a vampire
Mommy
thing.
vamp, yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all.
People like to get stepped on, Sheepy.
Why?
They're into that.
There's literally a meme. Don't step on me.
And they're wimps. That's what it is.
Pretty sure they're not wimps.
They are. I don't know. Why are we having this chaotic discussions?
Yes, chaos. So, and then obviously Slanesh turned up a bit later. So
Yeah,
that's the formation of the gods. So generally, when you have a cult or if you have a Chaos Space Marine chapter or whoever, they tend to be either none of the gods or one of the gods. So, for example,
if the Chaos Space Marines don't like any of the gods,
why are they Chaos Space Marines?
Yeah.
Because basically they're renegades. They're traitor. Very often, Chaos Space Marines are called the Traitor Legions,
right?
Because not all of them are exactly chaos.
Right, that makes a bit more sense.
But quite often they still kind of are.
Yeah, and I guess they could be like written off as chaos because then it's a good reason to go and exterminate them all.
And quite often they end up in the warp anyway, even if they don't, worship the chaos god or mean to. Yeah, I mean, sometimes the entire legion accidentally ends up stuck in the warp and turned to Nurgle. Well, actually, Nurgle fucked them over, but that's Death Guard. We'll talk about them at some point.
I've heard of them from you.
Yeah, Death Guard are interesting. They're Nurglites. So yeah, no.
Okay.
It's like Magnus and the Thousand Sons are Tzeentch, Tzeentchy affiliated.
Yeah.
It's like that. There's a few Chaos Space Marine chapters that are, will fuck with a certain god, and it's like, yeah, Tzeentch is my boy. I like spells and magic, and I'm a giant nerd. Or it's like Nurgle's cool because he makes us super resilient and all that type of thing. Or like, I really like hacking off heads. Let's go for Khorne. Or I want to do a whole load of drugs and then go and torch people
have a nice time.
Yeah. And that's Slanesh.
Is it really? Wow.
Yes, it is. It really is. Well, maybe someone wants to go to a planet and feed drugged milk to children, like, whatever.
Who would do that, unless it's someone's birthday? Sorry, we are just referencing a chaos show that we did. So these are not, it's just not, relevant, but
no, it's
fun.
It's a funny reference though.
So if you've
Tash
seen
made it
chaos
bad
show,
and I made it worse.
Hey, yeah, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad, but
it was really bad, and then I made it just that little bit worse.
So much fun though. Like, I've never played like a bad character. And I haven't where
you could just like not care about all of the ramifications of the horrific things you do and just enjoy like being a bit of a dick.
I had to like turn. Oh, obviously, I'm quite a nice person. I'm a nice person.
Don't believe it.
You do, really, like in your, for real. And so it was difficult at first, wasn't it? But
yeah,
I think after I just was like, fuck it.
After you realize that it's fine, it's whatever, that it's just like, okay, let's embrace this. And you embrace this a lot easier than anyone else as well. You're just like,
it happened pretty early, didn't it? When I was killing people in a well. Killing people in a well because of bowls. Remember?
Also, I just want to say, because just for people watching or listening, I can see Tash painting. She's shared it with me, so I can comment on it and see it when she's talking about it. I keep thinking you've like lacerated your thumb.
Oh, yeah. No, it's just pain. Because there's a lot of excessive pain on my brush, so it's like I'm touching it with the paper with the kitchen roll, but then I really don't want to put too much on.
It's just funny because I keep seeing it and then panicking for a second and being like, oh my god, Tasha's like, yeah,
Injured
lacerated her
herself
thumb.
again.
And then I look and I'm like, oh, it's just red paint. That's cool. That's fine.
It's
So
corn paint actually, so kind of relevant.
how many of the Chaos Gods can you name before I go into the rest of them?
Actual chaos gods. I mean, the first one we think probably the first one was probably Khorne or
Yes,
Nurgle, and then
probably Khorne, yeah.
Tzeentch.
I think Tzeentch may have been before Nurgle, actually.
Well, I mean, because humans
All
were
three of
stupid,
them were,
but
yeah,
like,
all
there's
three of
always
them
been
were quite close
disease.
together.
So, that's my thought process anyway.
I mean, even before the, like, even at saying that, like, yes, but there's always been, one monkey willing to smash another monkey on top of the head. So there's, always been conflict.
Maybe. Anyway, my opinion is Khorne, Nurgle, Tzeentch, Slaanesh, Emperor.
Any others?
I'm
not counting this.
real.
Not
Oh
counting
God,
dissonance.
there's like pseudo gods, isn't there?
Yeah.
No, I mean those are the chaos gods. Those power 4, right?
Yeah, the power 4. There's also Malice or Malal.
Right.
So Malice is essentially the embodiment of chaos's tendency to destroy itself. Or just destruction in general, but also itself.
Well, yeah, because like Khorne, if Khorne gets his way, I suppose, then everyone's dead, and then can't be worshipping Khorne anymore.
Yeah, and also they tend to fight each other all of the time because they're dumb. Like when the massive rift happened recently, if they'd have just like got together and all like stormed out of the warp and been like, yo, what's up, we're here, like Abaddon probably wanted them to, then everyone would be dead. But they didn't, because they just, like, the second it happened, they were like, okay, cool, this is a great opportunity for me to attack
my distinct rival.
Yeah, for me to attack Celestial Chord or whatever. So they just ended up attacking each other, and it's like, okay,
I'm taking quite a while with these little like red highlights, but I think it's because I made the I made it way too dark with the contrast, so I am trying to carefully layer up.
Yeah,
which is an interesting change sometimes.
So essentially, Malice was originally Malal,
right,
who like turned up in some stories and stuff in early Games Workshop days.
Yeah, I have heard of him.
Yeah. It generally, like 40k nerds who know lore, but not that much lore. Hey, what up? It me. He's a good one to reference because he's obscure but not completely obscure. So it's like certain anime. If you mention them, people are like, oh, so they're serious about anime. Cool.
Right.
But anyway, Malal like disappeared around 1988.
Right.
And it wasn't like talked about or anything until a lot later, when it kind of came back as Malice and like a new idea.
Well,
is
it just widely accepted that he is the same?
Yeah.
But is it like
it's kind of like a mini retcon where it's just like, oh, actually this is what Malice is, as opposed to
okay.
And he's also still not really used that much. He's kind of like he's a bit of a sidebar where it's like, oh yeah, there's also
that's interesting though, because you only ever hear of the 4, really.
Yeah, well, that's what. Yeah, there's also Gork and Mork.
Oh, I know a little bit.
Oh,
because they're orcs and they live in the Immaterium.
Yeah, they got a little corner for themselves where they punch each other.
And they have a bit of an RG every now and then. Bargy.
And they enjoy themselves. That's all you can really ask. But that leads to the question of, are they
yeah,
chaos
I mean,
gods?
but like things can be, I don't know, can they be non-emperor, non-imperium, but not necessarily chaotic? They just are what they are. I don't
I
know.
mean, they're gods,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
and
Because when you say chaos
they're
gods versus like
yeah.
gaudy gods,
I mean, they're also in the Immaterium. They're kind of dicks.
well,
Could be.
could be.
And then you have the Eldar creation myths, whereby you have all their gods and like Assyrian and Cain.
Mm,
And
well, a
there's
lot of
even
those got dead anyway.
yeah, but Cain's just shards all over the place, and he turns up as the avatar of Cain.
Does
Like,
it
yo, what
count as
up?
being alive?
It's hard to tell in 40k sometimes, isn't it? I don't know, maybe. But yeah, for now we'll focus on the main gods. I just wanted to touch
Okay.
on all the others.
I did all right, really.
Yeah, no, pretty good.
Can I just say, this paint cleaner, very good, and it will last for 5 million years. So I will clean my paintbrushes with this.
#ad.
No, it's not because I bought it, but
Yeah.
I saw people recommend it, and I was like, well, I'll try it out, and yeah, it's really good. So they don't need to sponsor me because this is gonna last forever. So
that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I can't remember where it was. So
you asked me which chaos gods I know of.
So I was saying, someone mentioned like #ad to me. For something I can't remember. I think they were talking about their stream or something.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, I really want to construct a joke around #ad, but make it breaking #ad. As in like Breaking Bad.
Right. I have not seen
haven't.
Breaking Bad.
I've seen bits of it, but like it's one of those things where I'm like, I understand why it's popular, but it's just not my thing. It doesn't engage me.
I know it kind of has built up to one of those things where everyone recommends it, so I can't watch it.
Yes. Yes. Poor Henry.
Henry Stickmin.
Yeah.
I knew it. Let's stop about that game.
So hey Tash, would you like to kill your enemies and then like take their skulls and put them on a throne of skulls and blood?
Can I have it be usable on a Mechanicus spider also?
A Mechanicus spider.
So it's like a throne and also a saddle.
Well, it wouldn't be your throne.
Oh, but I want one.
I mean, maybe you can make your own throne, sure. I'm talking about Khorne.
Oh, you know what? I'm not really. I'm not under Khorne's banner. I think.
Even though you love and paint his dogs.
Well, that's his puppies.
Yeah. So... These are Khorne demons. Puppies. I guess even that's not enough to bring you around.
No, because the other gods have cool animals too.
Yeah, that's fair. So Khorne's there, and it's kind of appropriate. Khorne's the only god with 2 rivals. He hates Slaanesh and he hates Tzeentch, and he probably hates Nurgle too. But yeah, not. I guess he needs one person he can work with occasionally. So
I think Khorne and Nurgle can sometimes align. Like Nurgle doesn't always want them to die, right? He wants them to suffer in pestilence.
Well, Khorne wants them to die because it's just like.
Oh, I mean, like, he doesn't always want them to not die. Sorry, I mixed that up. Whereas, Slaanesh and Tzeentch are kind of their worshippers have to be alive for them to benefit.
I mean, Tzeentch is a nerd, and Slaanesh loves to torture things. So Khorne, who is blood, war, murder, hate, anger, rage, war, killing.
Heckin'
It's like,
jock, bro.
yeah, like literally, it's just freaking jog. I don't know why, but
I bet
his
he'd play hockey.
like lacrosse.
A hockey.
Because if it's a frat boy, then there would be.
Well, I don't. Is lacrosse particularly violent?
Yes,
Oh,
very.
I
You
do
literally
not
like
know.
you know what it's like in ice hockey.
Yeah.
It's like that, except for on grass.
Oh, well then you don't have to faff around on ice. Then it's definitely a lacrosse player.
Yeah, yeah. It's literally just beating the lacrosse is just an excuse to hit each other with sticks.
Okay. I will believe you.
Not that I think drunk students need an excuse to hit each other with sticks, but it's nice to have one.
Well, they have to be sober at the games if they want a scholarship.
Yeah. But yeah, no, the essentially any killing, murder, fighting, war. Like Khorne loves that shit. Slaughter loves slaughter. But he is also like all of the gods have kind of a flip side to their coin, which is them as well.
Mm-hmm.
So Khorne will be like, you know, there's a planet full of people, fucking kill them all and take their skulls and drink from them, and yay me. But he also likes the kind of pride of being very skilled with a sword, with a blade, and of honor, and you know, people who Khorne has a soft spot for people who will like stand there with a sword and be like, 10 of you, is that all? Go get some of your friends, I'll fight you all. And then, you know, manages to win despite being outnumbered and you know, like heavily wounded, etc. etc. So Khorne's champions and Khorne's worshippers, they can be like a crazy asshole who just like runs through, you know, units of people just chopping off heads, laughing and being like, ha ha ha, the blood for the blood god, which is the meme. But you know, they could also be a kind of a skilled warrior who's like challenged me to a one-on-one duel and then like beasts the crap out of them anyway. So
Yeah.
well, and one of the important things about Khorne is he doesn't really like pain.
He just wants it to be like done, isn't he? No.
Yeah, it's the killing. It's the like the thing is he doesn't like suffering because that actually helps make Slaanesh stronger.
Yeah.
So if you're a Khorne worshipper and you're like, yeah, I took some prisoners, haha, let's make them suffer. It's like, nah,
just the moider, thanks.
Yeah, just kill them. Which is one of the reasons why Khorne, you know, in a way, is kind of one of the best gods.
Least horrific.
Well, yeah, like I mean, that still means best, right? You
know, like best can mean a lot of things, though, right? Most interesting, most effective.
Sure.
Like best puppies, maybe.
Extensive research would need to be done.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We need to have a lot of research into the puppies of chaos. Honestly, that should have been the episode.
Me researching puppies.
Puppies of chaos.
Oh, but I mean, you know, we can make it an option in the vote, but I feel like that would win.
Yeah.
Just as a sidebar before we go into, well, we'll probably do a little bit more Khorne before we go on to the other ones. But do you ever feel like you know when I send over the three options
who's
for the
gonna win
to vote?
Yep.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like I kind of feel like I know who's gonna win, and the likelihood is it's going to be a draw, and then you know we're gonna have to figure out a way to pick who goes next. But as soon as the Dark Eldar went out, I was like, it's gonna be fucking Dark Eldar.
The Dark Eldar.
because everyone knows I don't want to do the Dark Eldar this early. I want time to get used to researching. There's only so many times I can read like oh god, I don't know what.
The word Drukari. There you go. Let's go with that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's move on.
Moving on. So the Demons of Khorne are pretty cool.
Yeah.
You got Bloodthirster. It's the greater Demon of Khorne. He's essentially like he's essentially like the Balrog.
Right.
He's a big angry boy with a whip and flaming sword and shit, and he's probably the most dangerous. Like when I was playing the tabletop, he was actually the most dangerous unit around.
Yeah.
Like ridiculous health, so much damage, and he just used to flap around like a big dickhead. One of my mates ran Chaos Demons, and we all hated him because at the time we were all very 40k and very not fantasy.
Yeah.
And running a demon army is like being like, yo, I want to be melee and demons and stuff, and it's like, fuck you, get a gun, you fucking nerd.
Just get a gun. Look, the Mechanicus work really hard on those.
Yeah.
You're gonna hurt their feelings.
You know, so there's also the Bloodletters, the Flesh Hounds, which is that little puppet there, and the Juggernauts, which I think you'd also enjoy. They're like giant metal versions of the puppies. You've probably seen like a Chaos Warrior riding one.
Maybe.
It's like a mix between dog and rhino, clad in iron.
Oh, that sounds kind of cool though.
It really is.
I want to. I mean, I'd like to paint one of the cyber wolves from the Fenrisian, but I kind of want to do mixture of things soonish. So obviously the Necrons were mostly all metal, so there's a lot of dry brushing. It was quite easy. Like I say that it was quite easy. And then straight onto the Eldar, who had a mixture of like metal, and like armor, and that was really, it was a pain in the ass. But it was really interesting. Then I painted Vortimus, and he was pretty interesting as well. But like these are kind of back to, they're pretty solidly flesh, right? Like flesh hounds.
Yeah.
And I mean they have the collar, but I like the mixed model, I suppose. Of like,
and we haven't even got to the point where you have to like paint faces and stuff, you know, like
I don't know about painting faces.
A space marine without a helmet or a Imperial
No,
Guardsman.
I'm good. Yeah, I mean, I had the option with Necrons. No, and with the Eldar, and I was like, no, yeah. I'm just gonna put a helmet on that.
I sent you a picture of a Khorne warrior on a Juggernaut.
Oh yeah, no, I have seen these.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I like them because they're very fair. Much like
they're maybe closer to Rhino and Bear.
Yeah.
Clad in kind of metal.
I
think that's also I think that's a fantasy version.
Right.
Like, so
it's just kind of when people think like, this is not in a bad way, but when you think of 40k and it's all like flaming swords and ultra metal and spiky and like, that's kind of what I would imagine it to look like.
Yeah.
But there's so many other things too.
Oh no, yeah, totally.
So
but you know, it's hard to deny that isn't badass.
Yeah, it's badass. What's my next Dawnstone? Did I even get Dawnstone out? I imagine I did. Yeah, I did.
So
sorry, I was like,
oh yeah, you're good. So the Traitor Legion,
yes,
the Chaos Space Marines associated with Khorne are the World Eaters, who are with the Primarch, who is now Demon Primarch, Angron.
Oh, is it angry?
He is angry.
Oh.
I like that you knew how Games Workshop works in terms of naming things.
Yes. Mysterious,
Angron
unknowable naming conventions of Games Workshop.
Angron was so angry that he implanted shit, and he had shit implanted into his head that made him more angry to the point where he couldn't feel anything else and he could just feel anger. And then I think he took out some bits of his brain that like stopped him feeling even more angry so he could feel more angry.
Oh. But why did Angron is it just a big old emo? Like
So basically he all the Primarchs got yeeted. We'll talk about that at some point.
Yes, I do know that, yeah, because Magnus ended up on his little planet and
yeah.
Yeah.
So Angron ended up on a planet where he got made a slave and put into a gladiator ring.
Oh, well, yeah, that makes sense.
And then one of the things, obviously, because he was a badass, because he was a Primarch, he killed a shit ton of people.
Yeah.
And he was a really good gladiator. So to make him even better, they implanted this thing in his brain, or like around his like spine or something. Which, if you'll give me a second, I can even find the name of the thing it was called. God, Angron.
Doesn't
The art
very
for Angron is
good, really,
so
does
cool.
it?
Yeah, not really. So, oh God, what the hell was it called? It's a
pain implant. Is that what happened? So he was always in pain. I'd be angry too.
I mean, it was always in pain, but I think it also it also took away your it took away like some of your emotions. They're called butcher's nails.
Right.
Yeah, they're cybernetic cortical implants, some archaeotech that essentially it's they put it in the gladiator slaves to enhance their fighting abilities, turning them from already like good fighters into like barely controlled killers. And where does it say the details of what the actual things do? I think it ended up basically killing him, and he was only saved by the fact that he was pretty much like
because
turned into a demon.
Oh.
I'll send you a picture of Angron in a second. He's like super scary badass.
I can't add them.
But yeah, so it boosts the adrenaline in the person who has it in the
yeah.
Basically increasing strength and aggression.
Yeah.
But it's like all the time.
Okay, I'm feeling bad for Angron now.
I mean, this will happen a lot, right?
Yeah.
So get used to it, whereby like all of the Primarchs who ended up being evil, for the most part, there was a reason, and they had some shitty times. Wait till we talk about like oh God, who's the head of the Night Lords? It's Batman, but I can't remember his name.
Basically. I want to make a Dracula joke for the Night Lords.
Yeah, so that's Khorne basically, like, you know.
So he made the deal with Angron to keep him alive.
Sorry, his name is Kurz.
Then we're not
Conrad Kurz. That's the Night Lord
from the Night Lord. Yeah.
Next up is Tzeentch.
Wait, did Khorne make the deal with Angron? Obviously.
Angron. So not exactly. No, it's something that can probably wait till later, because it's. I think it's that's more of a Angron and the World Eaters story as opposed to a Khorne story, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
Unless, like, this is the thing is,
I don't know how likely like it is that we're going to go into huge detail on, every
I think it's pretty likely.
sub kind of faction, but obviously I don't know the importance of them in the lore and stuff, so you kind of have more of an
Pretty
idea than me.
okay. So the thing about all the Space Marines and stuff, and I've said this on and off now and then, etc. etc. The Space Marines seem super boring
Uh-huh.
until you do a deep dive on their lore.
Yeah.
And then you find out like really cool stuff about them, and you're like, oh my god, how did I never know this? And the answer is no one does deep dives on them because they seem really fucking boring.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know what? I actually want to know about the orcs because they're fun, or the dark elves because I need some,
Memes.
uh, yeah, or the Tau because I love hentai. There we go. That's a picture of Angron as he is now.
Angry boy. Yeah, I got that straight away.
Yeah. He for people listening but obviously can't see the picture. He's basically a giant red demon that's very, very angry with wings and like a giant double axe, and he's just like rawr. So
this is really difficult.
yeah, you're fine. So we talked about Tzeentch. I feel like we don't really need to go over Tzeentch again.
Yeah.
Did something go wrong?
I just sighed dramatically, so
Tzeentch's
being left out.
Well,
Tzeentch as always, because he's a nerd.
Tzeentch got an episode to himself, and then I went into his like Space Marines and his Primarch friend. And also because you asked.
Yeah.
And this is the thing, right? Is I like that you're like, once we get into it, you start getting super curious and you're like, oh, what about this? Oh, what's that? Tell me more about this.
But it's difficult. Like, I know it's difficult for you because you haven't researched things I ask about. But it's always the way when we have like shows or stuff where I'm like, I'm gonna do something that you didn't anticipate.
But it's also makes me want to tell you more about these things because it's all super cool. Like I love it and it's all really cool. So it's like, oh yeah, no, let's talk about the Dark Mechanicus, which I know very little about but think is really cool. So yeah, it's just one of those things where like it's a mix of that's a story for another time and I'm not 100% sure. Please ask again later.
Right.
When it comes to 40k lore, I know just enough to run shows and for people not to shout at me continuously that I'm doing everything wrong.
Yeah, and there's been some light lore shows.
Yeah, but I'm essentially a magic 8-ball when it comes to 40k lore. It's like it's very likely that I'll just pop up with ask again later, so I can have time to like research.
Let me Google that real quick.
I mean, when you asked about the Mechanicus, I had to pop up an extra tab just to go through it very quickly.
How many tabs do you have open right now?
About 20.
Oh, not so bad then.
Yeah, I'd already done Tzeentch, yeah. and I have a plan.
Oh well, I keep removing you from that plan. Apparently.
Yeah, no, like I was like, we'll probably get through Khorne in about 30 minutes max. So
not so much.
Yeah, no. So Nurgle.
Well, anything else to say on Khorne? Because we are nearly at the 1 hour mark.
Oh. Khorne's cool. I like Khorne. Khorne is probably my equal favorite god.
Oh really? With Tzeentch, I assume?
Tzeentch is my newer waifu.
Don't.
But Khorne has a place in my nostalgia heart because Khorne was always my favorite as a kid.
Right.
Khorne's very easy to understand. He's an easy badass. You know, when you're a kid, you think Arnold Schwarzenegger's super cool.
It's because he is super cool.
and then as you grow up, you're like, well, I also like Stephen Hawking.
Yeah. I suppose that's acceptable. Okay, I think we're gonna end this section here, and we're gonna talk about Nurgle next.
Bloop, bloop, bloop.
Bloop, bloop, bloop.
And hopefully Slaanesh as well.